right, I'm going to run you through the properties of solids lab. We have glucose here, so sugar. We have paraffin, which is wax, and then we have sodium chloride, which is table salt. So we're going to test both the conductivity, solubility in water, and then relative melting points. First thing we're going to do is we're going to try to see if they can dissolve in water, see if they're soluble. Because I want to use these for the next test, I want to make sure that I use the deionized water. So I'm just going to add some water into a test tube. Then I'm going to start off with sodium chloride here. I simply want to see if this dissolves. So I'm going to add some of my solid into here. Then I'm going to go ahead and shake it. I can see that it is dissolving in the water. That's all dissolved in there. I'm just going to go ahead and run my next test while I'm here. This is currently dissolved in water. I'm just going to put this into a beaker so I have a little more space to do this. I'm going to pour this into a beaker. Right? Now I have my conductivity tester, which is this green one. On the back, it tells you what everything means. But basically, if all the lights turn on, it's conductive. If it's just dim or not on at all, it's not. So you can use regular water, deionized water as a baseline for this. So if you just check, doesn't really matter. I'm going to add some deionized water into an empty beaker here. You can test the conductivity of just regular water. I'm going to turn this on. And you can see just that red light turns on just a little. It's dim, but not much at all. So that's kind of our baseline. So basically, if it's dim, nothing happens. It's not conductive, but if it's bright, then it does. So I'm going to put this into my salt water. I can see that both of those lights turn on, nice and bright. So when table salt is in water, it's very conductive. I'm going to go ahead and do the same things for my next ones. I'm now going to do glucose. So if I grab some glucose, which is just, again, fancy word for sugar, add some water into there. And again, I'm adding that deionized water because I want to use it for my next test. Stopper it and shake. You can see this one dissolves. So starting to dissolve into the water and just starting to go away. Okay. Test the conductivity again. We're going to go ahead and pour it in here. Go ahead and put it in. And what we can see is that it's a little dim, but it's not really conducting. So that glucose in the water doesn't really conduct. What we have is paraffin, which is wax. So get a nice scoop of this. Add this into my test tube. Add my deionized water. You can already start to tell that nothing's going to happen. You can see that solid is just kind of sitting at the bottom of the test tube, and it's not dispersing throughout. So wax is definitely not soluble in water. And you can test that conductivity as well. Light does not turn on, not conductive in water either. Last test we have is melting point. So I've added just a little bit of each solid into an individual test tube. I'm going to be starting with paraffin. You can just look at the time on the video for when it starts to melt. But my first step is to light my Bunsen burner. So I'm going to turn my gas on. Open my gas line a little bit at the bottom. I have my Bunsen burner. Flame's a little high, so I'm going to lower it to a nice low blue flame. Right? And I just want a time when it's going to melt. So when it starts to turn from a solid to a liquid, right now I'm starting at 455. I'm going to swirl and point it away from me. All right, and now, if you can tell, it is already melted at 5. There's already a liquid in there. That's our first one. I'm just going to set this to the side. and do our next one. So our next one is sugar. So this is going to be glucose. We're starting at 522. So obviously taking a little longer on this one, but it is starting to turn to a liquid now at 537. So you can see the bottom is starting to liquefy. So I'm going to stop it now. And my last one is sodium chloride. I'm going to go ahead and start this now at 552. What you'll notice, this is going to take a very long time. So you can keep watching this video if you'd like. This one's going to take longer than 2 minutes. You can see that nothing's happening. The melting point for this is incredibly high, something that a Bunsen burner can't really temperature reach-wise in this class. So you can heat this for as long as you want, but nothing's going to happen. So if you want to record longer than 2 minutes in your data table, you're good. And that's the entire lab.